listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Me no feel so good.
Hey, what's wrong, Ulok?
Me hurt.
Why not try Yaddle's Syrup of Figs? It's the only syrup of figs endorsed by holonet superstar Chad Pendragon.
Ooh.
Try Yaddle's Syrup of Figs, now in a new Gungan mint flavour.
Ooh, tasty. Me try. Me feel better.
Yaddle Syrup of Figs, for when you've got to go fast.
Hi, I'm Chad Pendragon. You may remember me from such holocausts as Gamorrean Gunslingers and The Last Temptation of Palpatine. I'm Chad Pendragon, and I endorse this message.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'll be the GM for Prinkle's exciting adventures with pod racing. I'm joined today again by my one player, who is...
Hello, I'm Adam. I'm the player. I am playing Prinkle, who is a Chadrafan janitor. He isn't dead yet, which is good, because that will do terrible things to establish canon. I mean, not that Star Wars doesn't necessarily already do occasionally terrible things to establish canon, according to the internet.
I think what we need to do is just add an extra I to the word Prinkle, and then you'll be a clone. It'll be fine.
But yeah, I'm here. I'm having fun. I'm ready to go.
With us, as always, is Mim, who's going to be doing my extra voices and a couple of NPCs.
Hello.
And we left Prinkle last episode next to a sparking and somewhat beaten up pod racer, which we found out was not the Zipping Zillow, but a facsimile. You have seemingly been replaced by another Chadrafan in the race, and you are sitting in the middle of a refinery of some type of mineral or gas. It looks like it's, as you put your hand in it, some acidic looking goop, with a couple of humans who say they're from the Rebel Alliance standing over your pod racer, shouting for click and saying they need help.
This is becoming somewhat deeper embroiled than I was hoping to. Although I have to say, it is starting to annoy me, this assumption that all Chadrafan look the same. They think I am Click, then they replace me with someone else who they think is me, who they think looks like Click. Now there are these people claiming to be from the Rebel Alliance that are wanting me. I am no rebel. I mean, I rebel, in that I want to bring down the Empire and see it burn into ashes. But by the same token, I am no warrior. I am no highfalutin pilot or schuster or terrorist or thing. Just me, just Prinkle. What do they want from me? And Clicky is a flyer. What do they think he's going to do? They're going to put him in an X-Wing and see him kill a Star Destroyer? That's not how this works. That is not... We are too small to move the world. It's for big people to move the world. We are just here to make sure they do it. Like an astromech droid, you know? We are there to provide essential functions, me and my fellows. And occasionally be sassed at by a protocol droid.
Click, we need your help. Please.
There's no one here called Click,
says Prinkle.
They look towards you. The one at the back just makes a hand gesture, and the human who was near the pod racer starts moving towards where you're hiding.
Uh-oh. Should probably have not said that, my lad.
We don't mean you any harm, Mr. Kajak.
I'm not Mr. Kajak, and put the guns down. Always with the waving of the guns and the hand signals. If you want my help, then I can make you tea, I can clean your floors, I can probably fix a pod racer, but what is all of this?
The human moving towards you, who is a human woman, puts her gun in her holster and says, "My name is Catherick. I'm just here to collect you."
Collect me for what?
I think the commander will be better to speak to you about that.
Who is this commander? What? You are from the rebellion?
Come with me, please.
Why? What is all this about? I have friends. I have a ship to get back to. I need to buy tea. All I want is my tea. Where is my droid? My droid full of free tea. What is all of this about?
She walks round the barrels.
Prinkle gets up. He's just standing there now with his hands on his hips.
I can see you're very annoyed, Mr. Jack.
I'm not annoyed. I'm just a bit frustrated, and I'm not Kajak. I am not Click. I am not worthy to even be mistaken for my countrymen. I could not even win the pod race. Look at me. There was a pod race out there that was driven by a force ghost, and I could not even beat the ghost. I'm not worthy to be Click. A Rhodian boy cocked at me a snook, and he flew past me. And now I am here with another me, running the race that everyone thinks is me, and I'm not even the me they think I am. What is all of this about? I am having a very bad day.
The rebel nearer to the podracer says, everything will become clear if you just come with us.
Why do I have to come with you for things to become clear? You humans always... Fine, lead me the way then. Lead me the way as we make these very clear. And maybe your commander will listen to me when I speak my words. By the great tree and the massive frog that lives underneath it.
This way, Mr. Kajak, and they
Fine.
beckon you. You walk through the refinery. Above you, you can hear pod racers zipping past. And it's only a short walk until you get to a building which the male rebel knocks what is clearly a secret knock on the door. It opens. It's dark inside, and they both walk in.
Luckily, Chedrafan are quite good in the dark. Not necessarily for their eyesight, but they have pretty good ears. So I kind of pivot my ears in the way a cat does when you're talking about it, potentially offering it treats, kind of so I can scan what's going on in the darkness. And Huffin, Prinkle at this point, he was having quite a good day, and then it turned into a bad day, then it went back to being a good day, and now it's a bad day again. And quite frankly, he's a bit stroppy at this moment in time.
It looks like it's a large warehouse. Whilst it's dark where you are, in the centre of the warehouse, there are lights hanging from the ceiling, pointing down to illuminate just a small area. In the centre of this illuminated area, there is a droll. He is standing there in what is quite clearly a military uniform. His uniform is utterly resplendent. It's quite clearly not an imperial uniform. He also looks quite well turned out, with the hair to his hamster-like face longer on the sides, giving him the impression of having huge mutton chops. As I say, his uniform is very resplendent, and there are a number of medals on his chest. Next to him, there is a slightly taller but still quite small, grey-skinned human with little black eyes, which, whilst there's not really much definition, look quite kind. The one feature you notice, and the one feature that is missing from this person, where its mouth should be, there is just nothing. But if it did have a mouth, you'd expect it would be smiling. The one thing that you get from this little creature is it looks kind.
Oh, that's reassuring. Finally someone kind. I say finally, Jalo was very kind. But the last half an hour or so has been somewhat frustrating.
Kafrik walks you in. Commander, he's here. And they walk off. The little Drell pumps up its chest a little bit and says,
Click, it's good to see you. We didn't think we'd be able to get you out of here.
While he's doing that, the kind-looking mouthless humanoid starts tugging on his uniform and looking at you. But the little Drell doesn't seem to notice this, or is in full flow.
My name is Commander Drom, and this is my associate, Vass.
And Vass continues to tug.
The Rebel Alliance desperately needs your help once again. This time we are in dire straits, and I firmly believe that you, only you, Click, can help us.
More tugging.
As you might have realized, the real Zipping Zillow was replaced with a decoy late last night. Our operative Quell has been sent in the real Zipping Zillow to act as your alibi. He's not a bad pilot and stands a good chance of getting placed.
He nods, looking up at you. There's a click in his head, but he keeps going because he's seemingly on a roll.
At least on the rostrum, don't worry about that.
There's more tugging. It's a bit more frantic from this kind-looking little humanoid.
Prinkle also kind of raises his hand a little bit.
He's not paying you much attention. He starts pacing a little bit. Vass starts patting him on the shoulder.
We've managed to procure you an invitation to a party going on a short distance away. The party is for an Imperial, and you and your entourage are now guests. We need to rescue a rebel operative by name of Grey Echo. Wait a minute, who the hell are you?
I have been trying to tell you, and your friends, I am not Click-a-Jack. My name is Prinkle, and I clean.
There's a pause. Lasts quite a while.
I mean, I can maybe mop, if you need a thing mopping, perhaps?
So, what you're saying is we sent our own rebel-trained Chadrafan to replace you in the race, and you're not even click.
Yes. Now, if maybe you have tried to speak to me beforehand, this whole thing could have been cleared up, and now I feel most terribly embarrassed.
He looks a weird combination of really annoyed, crestfallen, and just confused.
Maybe I should put the tea on while we try to work this thing out, okay?
Yes, he says, somewhat crestfallen.
Let's have a cup of tea.
Where is your kettle, my friend? Sorry, my commander?
Commander Drom.
He says, and makes a clapping noise, and the lights come on. It doesn't look as big a building as you expected. It is quite a grubby warehouse. There are boxes of all manner of different, what look to be engineering parts, all around you. And off to one corner, there is quite clearly a brewing station. 6 or 7 rebels are sitting there at a table, suddenly illuminated. They stop drinking.
How do you like your tea?
Blue, 12 sugars.
Okay. And you're my friend?
He says, looking at Vass.
Vass holds up their hands and goes to help you make the tea. And as they pass by you, they casually pat you on the shoulder and ask you to calmly sit down. We'll sort this out.
Now, what's strange about Vass is, whilst Vass has no mouth, it doesn't vocalise this. You just feel that in your mind.
Okay.
Prinkle kind of stands and lowers his head a moment and then kind of looks Vass in the eyes and says,
My friend, I am out of control. The whole day is spiraling wildly out of my fingertips. The one thing I know how to do is make tea. Please let me make tea.
If that would help you calm down, but I want you to know you're among friends, and even though life may take us in strange directions, doesn't mean that we can't understand and control our journey.
I mean, you say that, but you are not me at the moment. You seem to know what is happening. Let's go to the kettle.
And Prinkle wanders over to the brewing station, muttering to himself under his breath.
You fall into your regular tea brewing routine. It's comforting. It's something that, like you said, you have control over.
And as I go, I say to the other rebels,
Anybody want another cup of tea? I'm going to be making a big pot.
Kafrik says, Yeah, that'd be nice. Thank you.
Prinkle pulls out his data slate and just kind of goes around writing down everybody's tea order and then gets to the kettle and just gets cracking on.
4 or 5 of them ask for tea. The rest of them are okay. One of them asks Commander Dromson, Commander, can we put the race back on?
I suppose.
And the large screen next to them clicks on, and you see the racers zipping by. It looks like the Zipping Zillow, or at least the replacement Zipping Zillow, is doing okay. It's about 6th place.
Oh, that's not so bad. Better than I was doing.
You hear,
Well, we were right not to discount the Zipping Zillow halfway through the race.
That little Chadrafan sure has heart. You just can't expect anything from this guy.
It looks like a completely different race run from him in the second part.
A heck of a turnaround, I know. Do you think he was showboating for a better ending? He has been known to.
It must be what's going on.
Okay.
And Prinkle makes the tea, puts it on a tray, goes round, hands it all out.
You see, that's the thing. Quell is quite a good pilot, but not particularly good in social situations, and that's what we need.
I mean, I'm okay in social situations. What is it you need to do? I feel like I am obligated now, since there's been this whole misunderstanding. And I have caused you a degree of discomfort. The problems have been caused here. Now I need to make sure that I get back together with the droid that I have rented, because Jal is carrying all the supplies for my ship, and I need to have that back before my friends get back, so they are not disappointed, and so they can eat and have a drink as well. And they'll be very worried about me, but how can I help? I feel like I have to. I feel like I am obligated to assist now, because I put you in this terrible position, inadvertently or otherwise.
Well, we'll make that happen, don't worry.
and Drom nods to a couple of the rebels there who sigh, put down their tea.
Make it happen.
And they stand up and leave. There's still about a dozen or so people here, not including you, Vass, and Drom.
Vass offers you a biscuit.
Unsurprisingly, Vass, not having a mouth, doesn't drink or eat.
Prinkle is far too polite to ask. Just in his little heart, he's a little bit sad that Vass will never know the glory of a good cup.
Drom pulls up a chair.
Sit, please.
Okay.
We are in dire straits, and we possibly could do with your help. We have an operative in the Imperial entourage of a Commander Malik, who is commander of a space station just a short jump from here. Their name, or at least their code name, is Grey Echo, and they have been investigating why the commander has a space station this far into Outer Rim space. This is not a law-abiding sector. They've called in to say they need extraction, and we need to help. The problem is getting onto the space station. Now, we know that Commander Malik is an extravagant commander who in the last 6 months has had several parties for up-and-comings, local celebrities, sometimes even the local criminal organizations. And we saw an opportunity with Click racing in the all-comers Port Haven pod race today, and knowing that Click has been a help to us in the past, we thought it only right to to procure your help.
Okay. See, now I know what I'm getting in for. I can probably pretend to be Click. Now that I know he would not be... He would not be angry about this, would he?
Well, as far as we're aware, if you're not Click, he's probably at least a couple of sectors away and had no idea he was supposed to be attending the pod race.
Okay. I can probably pretend to be him for a bit. I mean, I don't like to lie to people, but humans think we are all the same, so I might be able to talk it up. My only concern, of course, is that I don't sound like Click, so, But then again, maybe he doesn't know that. He might not have ever heard him speak.
Not many have.
He is a Chadrafan of few words.
Well, unfortunately not. But the thing about the pod racing is everybody follows the pod racing, but very rarely follows the hullabaloo afterwards. So I think if we go in and we leave quickly, there won't be a problem. What say you? What is your name, sorry?
He's Prinkle.
What say you, Prinkle? Will you help us?
And this will tweak the nose of the Empire as well.
Well, it depends what Grey Echo has, but I can't see it doing any otherwise.
Then I mean, they are very bad people, and they have done terrible things, and quite frankly, I hope they have a sad day.
Well said, Prinkle, well said.
All of them.
You see, the actual problem is we can't work out why this space station is here.
I mean, this is a shadow pod. If they start doing things of nefarious nature here, you might not even need to do any of your clever rebel things. Just alert the local bad folk and watch the local bad folk have great disagreements with the Empire.
Yes, that could be a way, but we need to know what they're up to first.
So, Grey Echo, who I need to exfiltrate.
Oh, you won't be alone.
Oh.
I'm going with you. Vass is going with you. We're going to have a pilot as well.
Okay, that's even better then. So, I mean, who are you going to be being then?
We are your entourage.
Okay, so will you be using like real names as well? Or will you also be like me, incognitus?
I don't think it matters. I think we can possibly use real names. I don't think Commander will be a good idea, but other than that, I think we'll be alright.
Oh, that's okay. So, and you know who this Grey Echo is so that we can help to find them and get them away?
They have a code phrase.
Okay, but, I mean, do we even know at least the species, or do we just need to go onto, say, a microphone and go, "Hello everybody, I'm Con Click-a-Chack. The weather is bad in Murmansk this evening."
Grey Echo knows who we are. That's the important thing. We will be contacted.
So they will come to us, and I will be like, "I am the horrible goose that haunts your dreams," and they will be like, "Peace was never an option," and we'll be fine.
If you like, yes. However, I don't think you'll be doing the extraction. What we would like you to do is get us in with the invitation and then mingle.
I do not want to be doing the extraction either, but the day I've been having so far, I would not be surprised if things take a turn for the unanticipatedly wacky.
And at that point, a load of the people around the table cheer. What? It looks like the Zipping Zillow's moved up to third place.
Oh. So what is the code phrase in case I am the one approached by the greyest echoes?
He pauses, looks around.
We'll fill you in on the way.
Oh, that's a very unusual
No,
code
that's
phrase.
not the code phrase. We'll fill you in on the way.
Okay.
The less people who need to know about this, the better.
Vass kind of shrugs in a slightly apologetic way.
I turn to Vass and go,
Do you know, my friends are out there right now having a wonderful team-building experience. They're out there in the jungle. They will be having a lovely day. I made for them jammy sandwiches. and a little picnic basket, and I'm certain that nothing terrible will be happening to them. Even Lassa wanted to go, and she's not really one for doing this sort of thing. So, when we get back, we will have to exchange stories with them. It will be fine. And they will be all like, hey, Prinkle, what did you do today? And I was like, you will not believe a single word of this. What did you do today? And they were like, we went into the jungle and we had a picnic. And then Oberon showed us where Moss was. It would be wonderful for them.
Meaning no slight to your friends, this is very important business for the Alliance. It might be best if it stays a perfect secret.
I mean, they don't actually listen to anything I say anyway. I could walk up to them and go, hey, I killed the Death Star with a hammer. And they would be like, thank you very much, Prinkle. Where is the broom? And I'd be like, oh, where is my broom? Commander?
Well, yes?
Are we going to be done in time for me to go to Crazy Eddie's broom emporium and buy a new repulsor broom?
Probably not. It's going to be quite a busy day. Do you want me to send somebody?
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Perfectly acceptable.
He looks at somebody else and they put down their tea and look a little bit sad. And
You are a rare soul, Prinkle.
I just want a new broom. The ship is very untidy. It's not been cleaned in 15 years. As it is, I have to use one of those, like those static dusters, where you swoosh it around and the dust comes to it. Basically, Lassa has rigged up a little thing and it turns my whole body into one of those. It's the only way we can get the dust off. 15 years. Been in the cave, my friend's ship. 15 years. The dust was so thick that when I went on there to sleep, I just sneezed for like half an hour non-stop. It was very embarrassing. I had to lock myself in the galley because I couldn't let them see that. And then, of course, I had to clean the urn because I sneezed on it, not because, the tea was in there. Then Oberon, he puts vodka in the tea. He makes tea from vodka. All it does is set on fire. It's a terrible state to be. Are you going?
I think it's possibly time. The time is of the essence in this situation. Right, the first thing we need to do is dress you the part. Can we get everything prepared, please?
And there's a bit of a groan and the view screen goes off and a couple of the rebels who are remaining go over to one of the walls, pull off a couple of machine part crate boxes, which seem surprisingly light for machine parts because they're holding them individually, put them down, open them up, and there just seems to be a vast array of costume.
We got several different parts. As we thought you were Click, we thought you might have an opinion. But what would you like to? What's the best? Have a look in the box.
Well, we need to look in the box, and time is of the essence. So there's only one way to handle this: costuming montage.
Tell me what at the end of the montage Prinkle ends up wearing.
So a proper pod racer's jumpsuit. A decent quality one with like Con-Click Kachak on a name patch.
Yep.
It's got kind of reinforced webbing straps that you hang off the useful stuff that you need if you're a proper pod racer, all of which are fairly well polished.
Yep.
He's got a pod racer's helmet, a decent one, with the symbol of the zipping Zillow kind of on the side of it. He's still got his pistol, which because he ain't leaving that behind.
Yeah.
But that is now kind of tucked into one of the pouches, so it's not immediately obvious.
Yeah.
And again, he's still carrying his massively oversized hydro spanner because it goes with the ensemble.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, he looks not too dissimilar to what he was already wearing, but the quality of it is a lot better and it's a lot cleaner. And whereas his is more of a janitor's like heavy boiler suit, this is a proper pod racer's jumpsuit.
Are you taking everything out of the pockets of your jumpsuit to put on this jumpsuit?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So into one of the pockets goes the remaining signed photos.
Oh, obviously,
from Click.
They're going nowhere. They're staying with me.
Drom changes into what looks to be it looks like a media person's costume. He's wearing very sharp clothing. He's got a comm device on his ear. He's got a data slate. He looks like he possibly, if we was going to put him in a role, he'd be your marketing guy.
He's the PR flack.
That's right. That's right. And what does Vass dress as?
Vass is actually dressed as your pit crew, a support assistant, someone that might be with you to offer advice and be able to tell your fans, the people who have invited you because you're such a popular pod racer, a bit about your ship and to be able to give more details about your life when you are too busy to talk to them.
Yeah, kind of a cross between a pit crew bouncery type, even though Vass is essentially made of angles and has very thin arms and a very thin body. They look very approachable, but as you were rightly picked up, you're a bit wary of them because they talk in your brain.
Yeah, that's weird, but to be honest, Prinkle is now just accepting that today is weird and still probably a cheese dream. So he's just going with it. He's just going with it now.
You are shown to a Mexilipede shuttle, which you and Drom and Vass and a pilot enter. The pilot, who I have the name of here somewhere, is called Quan. Quan. He's human. He seems quite monosyllabic. When you ask his name, he literally just goes, Quan. And that's pretty much all he has said to you. But he seems to know what he's doing. He sets you off, and you go from Port Haven into the atmosphere, and after a few moments, into hyperspace. It doesn't take too long, and you flash out of hyperspace.
Right.
Says Drom.
We are now orbiting the planet Borgo Prime.
Quan says, actually, we're closer to Borgo 6.
Yes, right. Borgo 6. And we'll be coming upon Minerva Base shortly. Borgo Prime is a fairly remote sector, Borgo 6 even more so. So the station is unusual. We believe, as mentioned before, it is a secret administration area for something happening in the Outer Rim for the Empire. The commander of the station, as I mentioned before, Commander Malik, is new to the position and likes to have extravagant parties. All we need you to do, click,
There's a wink.
is to get us in with these invitations.
He hands it out, and it says, Conclick Jack and Entourage. And the date, Minerva Base, and Commander Malik.
Get us in, we'll do all the difficult bits. You make everybody think you're click, and then we'll leave. Nice and simple, in and then out.
I've suddenly just thought of something. Do we have any more signed photos?
Signed photos. No? What do you mean any more?
Well, because he gives them out a lot. And I have some, but they're mine.
Well, we kind of expected you to have some.
But I'm not him.
Yes, but we didn't know that.
Oh, that's still very short-sighted. That is an immediate operational flaw. Never mind, it is fine. Do we have on the flight here maybe a holo picture and a printer and a Sharpie or equivalent brand space marker?
Do we have what he just said there?
And Quan goes, No, it's a shuttle.
I don't know what shuttles have. I have been in some shuttles that have everything in the world.
Not this shuttle.
Well, no, clearly not. This shuttle is a rubbish shuttle. I'm sorry, it's not a rubbish shuttle. I'm just a bit tense.
It's fine, says Quan, who is quite clearly a little bit tense about you bad-mouthing his shuttle.
Did you say that you already have a signed photograph of Click?
I do.
How many?
I have two.
Commander, I'm sure that we can guarantee with our contacts that, should it be necessary for you to use them to further the play of you being Click, we could get a replacement from the real Click.
The Rebel Alliance asks for much, but I'm fairly sure we can get you a signed photo of a pod racer.
Okay. He's fine. He's fine. No, this is more important than me. This is more important than me. Okay. I'm going to go and get into the Click zone. If you let me know when we're nearly there.
And he goes and he takes out his signed portrait of Click.
Righto.
And he sits on the edge of one of the chairs and he stares at it. And he's just trying to commune with the spirit of Click.
Okay. The one thing you notice from the signed photo is it looks nothing like you. I mean, you can tell. Click doesn't look like you at all.
No, but no one else knows.
I mean, whatever his name is, Quell looked more like Click than you.
Well, if anyone asks, I'll just say that obviously, this being a publicity shot, I'd been to see a makeup and hairstylist. Whereas I've just come off the pod racing track.
Holo shop.
Holo shop, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Hashtag no makeup selfie.
Yeah.
Hashtag Photoshop.
Okay, all right. You focus. You think how Click would act. You have a little go at walking how Click would walk. You put yourself in the mind of the greatest pod racer in the galaxy.
Okay. Let's get this done.
And Prinkle nods, puts the portrait away, stands up, rocks his shoulders, cracks his neck, and then suddenly, as he's kind of pacing around, drops into an uncharacteristically arrogant swagger. A real kind of what I know as a Salford roll in the walk, and what people who don't live in Salford will have no idea about. But it's kind of a real kind of like a bulldog, that kind of cocky, kind of real strut.
I would love to hear from the other people from different cultures who listen to this podcast what your equivalent of the Salford roll is. Vass looks towards the commander and then bows gently towards Prinkle and says, obviously in his head, "Are you ready, Mr. Click?"
Oh yes. Let's get this done.
We're coming up on Minerva Base, says Quen. And you look out the front of the shuttle, and you can see ahead of you, quite clearly, an Imperial base. It is big, it is grey, there are far too many quad lasers on it, and as you move in and get closer and closer, you see other ships pulling in as well. It looks like either everybody is fashionably late, or you are on time to this party.
Okay, we appear to be on time. Don't be. We need to be at least half an hour late. Conclick Kachak does not arrive on time. He either arrives before everybody else because he's the greatest pod racer, or whenever he fething well chooses to, which is not what the invitation says. He's Conclick Kachak. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah, make it so. Yeah, do that. Take us a run us around the block. I don't know. Do something, Quen.
And the shuttle kind of peels off, and you see open space in front of you. So do you fly around for about half an hour?
Yeah, something like that. Enough to know that we're not being cocking a snook, but late enough to know that we are important.
Okay. Is there anything you want to do in that half an hour?
No, Prinkle's, well, he makes a tea, obviously, for everyone that wants a cup of tea. But otherwise, no, he's very much in the zone. Now, one of the things that he has been picking up from the crew while they've been around is he's been eavesdropping on Pyjack's meditation training for the rest of the rest of the crew. And that's what he's doing. He's reaching inside and centering himself and keeping himself kind of pumped up.
Okay. Yeah, you strut around a little bit. You don't sit down and meditate, but you kind of keep that energy alive as you walk around.
Yeah, and then he has a 5-minute power nap because he's a Chadra fan, and that's how they roll.
2 hours a day. After about 25 minutes, Quen banks the ship quite sharply, and the station, a bit further away, comes into view.
Okay, let's do this.
The ships that were pulling in before are no longer there. You are by yourself pulling in towards this station.
Oh, can we find out who won the race?
Yes, of course.
Drom pulls his data slate open, presses a few buttons, and he doesn't bring up a live feed or anything like that, but he looks like he's looking at the Holonet news.
It looks like you came second.
That's okay.
Single engine Sidewinder came first. And the Blue Raporium third.
Okay.
Of course, you're still there. This is giving you an alibi. So if they try and catch us, the first thing you do... Maybe not, I don't know.
They don't know I'm still there.
They do not.
So there we go.
Yeah.
What I need to do is come up with a convincing reason for why I came second. To make the grudge race so much more appealing. Okay.
Can I have a knowledge outer rim roll from either of you?
No.
Yes.
I mean, you can. I have no ranks in it. What's the difficulty?
The difficulty is 2.
1 success, 1 advantage.
Oh dear.
Even though Vass actually has knowledge in this, she's just got 1 disadvantage. 1 threat.
Okay, so can I knock off a strain for Vass, please? And with your 1 success and 1 advantage, you know that the winner of the race, who was in the single-engine Sidewinder, is Hooch Mantrepo. Hooch is a Zabrak. Nobody talks about it, but Hooch cheats. And nobody talks about it because Hooch races for the Huts.
Click would not be intimidated by that at all,
No.
because Click understands not the concept of fear.
Yes.
So, okay.
But
cool.
there's always a rumbling underneath that if Hooch has won, and he wins quite a lot, he's done it with underhanded tactics.
Grand.
So maybe you can go with that.
Oh, yeah.
The Blue Raporium, by the way, is fairly new, not a big player, but is a Foss, which is kind of a parrot person.
Yes.
Yeah, they're wonderfully flamboyant feathers. You don't know a great deal about the Blue Raporium because they're kind of an average player.
Yeah.
So it's a good win for them, or a good 3rd place for them.
Yeah.
You're coming into the station. The station is angles and grey and cold looking. I mean, we're in space, but it looks cold.
Yeah.
As you get closer in, Quen sends your invitation electronically through to them, and a docking bay opens up. He pulls the shuttle calmly into it and lands. "I'll stay here," he says.
Okay,
Click looks over at Vass and Drom.
let's go.
Yes, sir.
After you.
And Prinkle leads the way, still with that arrogant roll.
You walk down the gangplank. The shuttle bay is filled with all manner of different high-end ships. I mean, this shuttle is a fairly high-end ship, but it is just resplendent with all manner of different, the up-and-comings, the rich and famous fly these type of things. It is quite the showroom. At the end of the shuttle bay, there is a human in an Imperial officer's uniform. He has a data slate in front of him, and he is standing in front of a double door.
Prinkle swaggers over to him.
He looks up at you, thoroughly unimpressed.
I'm Con Click Kachak. Maybe you've heard of me? I'm here for the party.
I'd like a deception roll, please.
Okay. Difficulty?
1 red and 1 purple.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, because of all your swaggery boosty setting yourself up, you can have another boost.
Thank you very much. So 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 purple, and 1 red at the moment. Well, the blue have done something for me that they have never done for my namesake and actually given me a success. So that is 3 successes. No advantage.
Ah, yes, I'm sorry, says the doorman. Right this way, Mr. Kachak.
These are my associates. They're coming with us, of course.
Of course. The door opens and you are hit with the sounds of dozens and dozens of people enjoying a party and lounge music. You are in, still, quite a cold, grey space station, but they have tried their very best to make this into a warm party environment. There are plants around, there are curtains. You can see it's basically frosting on a very dull metallic cake, but they have really tried their best to make this into a party area. On the far right at the back, there is a long bar, which doesn't look to have been placed there too long ago. It is quite it's a permanent fixture, but it looks brand new. Further to the left, there is a large selection of gambling games, and people are mingling of various different species, mostly human, but various different species are talking the day.
Prinkle, for a few seconds, looks completely overawed by this. I mean, he's never been to anything this swank. He's never been around this many people, really. His history is not one of being... Even at the base, when he would help out with the catering in the canteen, you were talking maybe 20 people. This is completely overawes him. And he loses his stride for just a second before he manages to get that swagger back and kind of shakes himself down. And his ears are constantly twitching, trying to take taking in all of this sound, this sensory overload, and trying to process it down. Because Chadrafan have got very, very sensitive hearing, so it deafens him as well for a second, and he's hoping that if anyone notices that brief kind of stutter in his demeanour, they'll put it down to, oh, actually, yes, it's just a bit loud, rather than anything else.
Well, I'll put it a different way. It could be that you have just entered, and rather than just walking into the party, you stand there so everybody can see you.
Yes.
That's exactly what Click would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't quite look right. If anybody was very perceptive, they'd probably be able to notice that you were having a little bit of a freak out. But if anybody wasn't noticing, you are making sure people know you have arrived.
Yeah.
Drom leans over and says,
Right. Vass and I will be mingling if you want to do what you do.
Okay. You go and look after yourselves. I'll go and hobnob.
And so you know, and what I failed to tell you on the way here, I really should have, the weather on Coruscant has turned for the clement.
He makes a wink.
Okay.
Good luck.
And you.
He poodles off.
Vass bows and with a very expressive gesture of their quite long fingers says,
Enjoy the party. I shall be here at your beck and call if you require me.
Of course. You,
Prinkle drops Vass a wink, kind of takes a breath, and then struts into the crowd.
And that's where we'll end it for today.
Well, you can tell by the way he uses his walk. He's a worm's Chadrafan. No time to talk.
Prinkle's day keeps getting stranger and stranger. Will he survive the horrors of an Imperial party? Find out next time on Prinkle's Excellent Adventure. And this episode's patron is Odious. Odious has been poached to join us from the Hydian Way Discord server predominantly, where the descriptions he posts of the games that he's running just sound phenomenal. And I'm always delighted that he shares them with us. Seriously, it just seems such an awesome game. But yeah, thank you very much for backing us. We're glad you're enjoying our show as well. Lovely to have you on board. And we'll see the rest of you next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.